Hey, the store is open, and so is Trash Talk. We're ready for you again. Happy Tuesday morning.
Yes,
Top of the morning
yes,
to you.
yes. We are here.
How you doing?
Good, good. Been very, very dragging lately. So I'm pretty tired, but I'm here.
Yeah, but we always got our coffee,
Always,
sir.
always.
Ready,
Yes.
ready, ready to go
Lots
there.
of it. Lots of
So
it today.
here's to you, as they say in Ireland. Top of the morning to you. But all right, so you got your lemonade stand back there, and we started talking about what were some of the first jobs we ever had, and going back to being a kid. Did you ever cut grass and all to make a little extra money
No.
in the neighborhood? Really?
No, it did not. No.
Uh,
No, sure didn't.
I did. I mean, I could probably think back when I was about 12 years old, and all because I lived in a neighborhood, and everybody had a good sized front yard and a backyard, and so it was a chore that I had to do in at my house, uh, and in order to earn my allowance or whatever. But a buddy of mine and I, we used to go and cut other people's grass, and all we could make some pretty good change through this, the spring, summer, and fall months, and then we
I
would
still
shovel
think
snow in the
that.
winter.
I still think people, I don't know how many kids do that now, but I've seen it a few times. Like before I, moved and all that, when we lived in the house, um, years ago, um, I still had some kids in the neighborhood right here in Frisco that would offer to do that. Not as many though, not as many as we did 20 years ago, what have you. But
Yeah.
I still think it's a pretty good way to earn money if kids ever wanted to.
Well, and we used to do it for like a dollar, or
Oh my God.
maybe two or something. Now I suppose a kid would say, "Yeah, I'll cut your grass. Be $20."
Yeah, I mean, but even like when you hire a service, depending on the size of your lawn, you're not getting it less than like $18, $20. And who knows now? I
Right.
mean, you know, yeah, that's crazy. But that's a common thing, I think.
Yeah. But and when I was growing up, I think the neighbors would allow us to do it, and all because they felt like, well, isn't that nice? The kids are out earning a little extra money.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Absolutely.
today, if you knock on somebody's door and say, "Can I cut your grass?" They want references. They want to do a background check.
I
Would you
know.
would you just breathe into this breathalyzer first?
Right. They want to see pictures of lawns you've done. The kid's like 15. Are you a
Yes.
horticulturist? Do you know my diseases in my lawn?
Yes,
Oh God.
you have a list of referrals or something I can follow up,
It's ridiculous.
to cut your grass.
But
But
what
and then
about what about like job, not just earning money? Because I used to go to the construction sites and collect empty bottles. You know, beer bottles, a lot of beer bottles at construction sites.
right,
But just pop bottles, pop cans, and take them back. Obviously, this is back in Michigan. They don't do that in Texas, but take them back and then get your 10 cents for it. I used to do that, and we'd have giant bags. I mean, you on a wagon and whatever. But like job. What is the earliest job with a paycheck or cash under the table that you remember?
I think I in back in Indiana, you were supposed to be 16 years old before you got a job in a legitimate shop.
Sure, sure.
But my father my father knew the owner of one of the local drugstores, and all. His name was Mr. Borden's Drugs, and all. And I was 15 years old, and Mr. Borden said, "Okay, if you want a couple of days a week, come in after school, and you can do some odd jobs around the farm." It was a pharmacy and drugstore,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
today's CVS or something like that. Well, the first thing I learned how to do was to spread that sweeping compound. There was a sweeping compound that you throw down the aisles, and then you'd sweep it up. And I'm not sure exactly what it did, but it was supposed to pick up lint and dirt, and I think it was the predecessor to the Swiffer. Um, and you have to sweep it all up and then bag it and take it out to the trash, which
Yeah.
is like behind me. You also had to take out the trash. Then I remember Mr. Borden was very, very happy with the way I work, because when you're 15 years old and it's your first job, you're going to give it 100%. You haven't learned yet how to cut corners.
Yeah, you're hustling. You're hustling.
Right.
Well, you
right.
haven't learned yet that in the long run, nobody gives a crap,
Yeah. And also, you're young enough not to know what all of the drugs in the pharmacy are all about.
Yeah.
So the second job was, he said, there's a tall ladder in the storeroom in the back. I want you to bring it out. And he handed me some rags and some like Windex. And I was supposed to spray a little Windex on the rags and dust the bottles in the pharmacy, which there were thousands of them. Many of them probably had not been off of the shelf in decades, and you'd have to take them off in order and wipe them all off, wipe that little cubicle, and then put all of the bottles back in order. And that took I think weeks to do all of that.
Oh my God.
But the one thing I learned from Mr. Borden was, and you'll be able to relate to this, was whenever you got new stock in, you rotated it. You always put the new stock in the back and move the old stock forward. That's why even today, when I go to a grocery store, I never take the bottle of milk or whatever that's in the front. You always go 3-4 bottles back, because you'll notice that the expiration date is a little further down the line. They always put the stuff that's reaching the expiration date up front.
Yeah, and even if it's the same date, it's still you still have to do that, because I do that with beer. I do that with I mean, it's
they
just
do
the
that
way it is.
With cereal, with chips, with peanut butter, with everything that's in the grocery store. And people are probably watching us right now saying, "Oh, I never knew that." Yeah,
they do that with stuff that doesn't have an expiration date, because it's just what you do.
Right.
It's just, especially like if something changes packaging, like sometimes you'll notice in the grocery store the first 10 items have this packaging on them. All of a sudden you get to 11 and the updated packaging.
Yeah, the new and improved
That's
packaging.
it, yeah.
Which is exactly the same stuff and all, just a new package.
Of course. It's marketing. And sometimes the packaging is a little bit smaller so you can fit more on the shelves, make more money, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I remember doing those tedious jobs. My first, and I always say like my first because I've talked enough about bar jobs, so I'm going to not talk about bar jobs. My first non-bar job, restaurant job, was probably Irwin's Apple Orchards in Southline, Michigan. No longer there. And it's exactly what it sounds like. There was a family that owned the apple orchard, and it was really annoying too, because they got in like a fight, so they split it. So one family owned like the orchard part where they make the cider and all that crap, and then the other family owned the store, the country store. But they made donuts, they had ice cream, they sold the apples there and cider and all that. So it was kind of split, but I worked in the store. I didn't work out on the orchard.
I thought maybe you were up on the tree, up on the ladder, picking the apples off the trees.
No. They got machines for that anyway. They had a machine for it, and then they had a lot of migrant workers that would come every year.
Right.
They come and then they leave. They come and they leave. But it was cool because it was like you learned, there was a lot to learn. Actually, that was when I really first started making donuts, was back there. It was a different style. It was those nice cinnamon donuts, soft and all that. But I mean, we did all the pastries. We did, you learned about the apples, not just about them, but bringing them in and setting them up in the store with the pallet jack, unloading a truck. I would unload this truck of cider. They'd have these giant pallets of cider. They'd come to the loading dock, and they were from the orchard, but they'd have to be delivered to us.
Right.
man, and you just be cranking up that pallet jack or the electric pallet jack, and you'd be pulling these double decker pallets of cider jugs. It was cool though, and it was really fun because number one, I got paid every week, every Tuesday.
Yeah.
I could walk to work, and I did a couple times, but I liked it because I did every facet from the register to the ice cream to the donuts, and they closed. It's seasonal, so they close right after Christmas, and then they open up again. And you always wondered, okay, are they going to ask me to come back? Some people, they didn't ask to come back. I got asked to come back, and then the store stayed open all year, so they asked me to stay on. It was cool. It was it was a good job. My dad just ran into them actually at the grocery store.
They're still there?
Yeah, well, they're not, but the people that sold it, they sold it to CVS now.
Oh, okay.
But they made a lot of money off it. They're still in town, so my dad was at Meyer or something and ran into them. So, but yeah, I worked there for, well, on top of every other thing I did legally and illegally, I worked there for about 4 years. Yeah. through high school,
Yeah. And right next to Borden's drugstore was the local bowling alley, Bowlera. I because I was only getting a couple days a week at Borden's, I thought I'd like to pick up a few more bucks. So on the weekends, I used to go over to Bowlera, and back in those days, the pin setters were teenagers.
Right.
You went behind the scenes and all, and you had to pick up the pins after they got knocked down and drop them into the thing to reset them and all. I got my fingers smashed about 4 or 5 times after the first couple of weeks, and I said, "Nah, I just can't handle this." And I think they were just as happy to see me go because I was doing a very good job. I couldn't balance myself above the pin setter.
Drop them down.
Yeah. And those were the days when the pins, by the way, the pins were made out of wood.
Yeah, they were much different than they are now.
And they were painted. Yeah. They were painted and all. And this is a true story. My father had an in with the owner of the bowling alley, and every so often a ball would hit the pins, and they would crack, or the top would break off and all. They used to save them, and my dad would bring them home and use them in the fireplace. Because number one, because of the shape of the pins, you could stack them and all. Because they had paint on them, all you had to do was start burning the paint, and they made the greatest logs for the fireplace.
And you got high off that paint and probably got some weird disease from it. So hey, that's perfect,
Yeah, that was before they found out that it was made with asbestos.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, don't breathe that."
But then when I got 16, and those jobs that I got were paid in cash under the table, because you were underage. But my first job at 16, I went to work for J.C. Penney.
Oh, geez.
In town at the downtown store, and I worked in the boys department and sold shirts and underwear.
Sounds very weird.
but the moms would come in to buy underwear for the little boys and everything. Yeah. And there was this cute little 16-year-old boy that was trying to tell him about, does he wear briefs or does he wear boxers?
Oh my God. I can't even.
But even in those days, if you upsold, if you could sell 3 packages of underwear to the same customers, you'd get an extra little spiff. Oh, boy, I'll tell you, those were the days.
Did you ever work at a fast food place or no?
No, I never did.
Me neither.
I think I wanted to, because that, McDonald's was really coming on the scene. And so the local cafes that served burgers were always looking for the high schoolers to come and help out. And a lot of the guys used to go and work in the burger shops and all, because it was a good place to meet girls.
So yeah, that's funny you say that, because I never did. I mean, I've worked at plenty of restaurants, obviously. Never did ever. I don't even think I applied, to be honest with you. I just never, I didn't want to do it. But when you talked about the girl thing, it was so weird. We had a couple local ice cream shops. We had a really awesome root beer place called Brown's Root Beer that just closed a year ago. Phenomenal place. Kind of like drive up and old school, like, yeah, it was good stuff. The girls would all work at those. Like, oh, hey, Jessica's working over at Brown's tonight. Let's go visit her. Or hey, Rachel's working at the Whip. Let's go to the Whip and go check. And the guys, when we weren't working, we would go hang out. It was really kind of reminded me of the old school days, but I never worked at one of those. I did work at video stores though. I feel like that's a given. But I got to work at Blockbuster, which was pretty awesome. We were one of the busiest Blockbusters in the state. And it was cool, man. And this was back when, so you had the VHS tapes, tons of VHS tapes.
Yeah.
But DVDs were taken over and they were getting smaller and smaller, the section. So they would sell their VHS tapes. Right. They'd put a bin out and be like $2, $3. I cannot tell you how many I bought, and we'd get our discount. So I'd pay like $1, But the coolest thing was I got to get all these movie posters, like full-blown movie posters. Right. Oh my God, I had so many movie posters, and I'd sell them and movie memorabilia. It was actually a pretty fun job.
My daughter, I remember getting her the original Tom Cruise Top Gun poster. She was so in love, and she had probably 4 or 5 Tom Cruise posters. Eventually she got rid of them, and then she found out later that if she had kept them, she probably could have resold them for like 5 times what she paid for them.
I kept them long enough. I ended up selling them anyway, but I'd make like $3, $4, $5. Yeah. Had I kept them long enough, oh my God, yeah. Do you ever have a job that you were like, I got to do this? And I've had some recently, but not my current one, by the way, for anybody that's out there. Have you ever had a job that you like just hated? You hated it?
Other than the Army,
well, that's fair.
I honestly, I can't remember a job that I had that I really hated. Because I was always kind of lucky to be in the right place at the right time. I mean, anytime I had a job where part of the duties was to collect the trash and take out the trash, I never cared for that aspect of it. But it was kind of, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah. No, I get that. I was thinking about that too. I think there were moments that I really just couldn't stand my jobs, and they lasted for a long period of time. Mostly because it was probably a mental thing, or I just needed to get out. Yeah. Or I was just being an idiot kid, Yeah.
Or the only time that I can remember really not enjoying a job was probably because I didn't like my supervisor or the boss, that they didn't think you were of that much of a value, and you think, man, come on, loosen up. I'm trying my best here.
Oh, that I could write we could do 17 shows on that part. But yeah, I think Old Navy. I worked at Old Navy for a brief time while I was working at a bar too. So it was like I made more money at the bar, but I wanted that consistency. Right. And I was young, and I liked the discount because I liked the clothes at the time. But I couldn't stand that job. I didn't like the Old Navy vibe, the corporate, like, yay team crap, Yeah. And
the customers would come in and throw stuff all around, and then your job was to fold it back up and then put it real nicely on the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did learn how to fold, and to this day, when I put stuff in a drawer, I'm still folding it the Old Navy way. This was years ago, but I didn't like it. You had to work the register, and I didn't want to deal with that crap. So they would rotate, like they put you. We had these stupid headsets, and they'd be like, Brandon, you're whatever they'd say. And I was like, nah, bro, I'm not doing that, And I would always try to like get out of it. And eventually the managers just got so annoyed with me that they just didn't put me on the register, but they made me like lead of inventory, which I thought was kind of cool. And I would work a little bit later. So when the trucks came in, we cut open the boxes, put the inventory out, get it set, and I'd work later and I got a bump. But then they wanted to start going later and later with the trucks. So it'd be like, and when I say late, you're talking about a guy that worked overnight. So this is not late. It'd be
Right.
like, well, you're going to be here till like 11:30. And I was like, what? No way,
I got to study.
Yeah, I got to study. Yeah. But I quit. I literally quit. I think I gave him a week. I gave him a week. I was like, hey, next schedule, I'm out. I didn't even feel bad.
There is one job that I always wanted, and I applied a couple of times and I never got it, but that was a ticker taker at the local movie theater. I
Yeah,
want to be in that booth and sell tickets to people, because I knew that A, you would get free stuff at the concessions, and B, you could see the movies. And all, once the
Yep.
movie started, and all, the ticket booth would close down until 30 minutes before the next feature. But I always wanted to do that, but the good looking girls always got that job.
That's fair. I never, that's another place. I had a buddy all through high school worked at the movie theater, and he'd get us into premieres. I mean, like, it was awesome. But I never applied in a movie theater ever. I just was kind of, I don't know. I never did.
Yeah. So, well, anyhow, if anybody wants to apply for this job,
you can have it.
Yeah, send us your resume. I mean,
Yeah.
but the hours are good. The pay is crap, but
the pay's crap. The hours are crap. Let's be real. The hours are crap.
Yeah, but you might become a celebrity. You might get noticed.
Maybe, yeah, you could. It's possible.
And we're still trying, and it's been what, 2.5 years now. But anyhow, you notice who we are. Come back again next Tuesday and notice us again. Okay, we'll be right here waiting for you.
Absolutely.